Hello, artists. So today we're going to start something new in our journal. It is pen and ink. And what you're going to need is your Pilot Precise pen and your journal. And we're going to go to the next blank page. So flipping through, you should have the journal on fodder on your word wall. There's our shape notes. I took more than one because I have two classes. Here's our next blank page. We're going to write pen and ink at the top. And now sometimes pen and ink can be a little scary for people that are new to this, because the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh my gosh, it's permanent. I can't erase it. So some people shy away from it, but really what I want you to let you know is to kind of let go of that fear. This is just a practice. This is just somewhere where essentially almost like notes. And so if you mess up here, it's totally normal. It's totally appropriate to mess up here. And that is something that I've done a whole bunch. And you don't have to cross it out or crumple it up and throw it away and start over. You can just mess up right here, and that's fine. Leave the mess up. And then the other thing about pen and ink is shading. We're going to work on some shading, and it's a little bit different than a pencil. So the main difference is with a pencil, you can produce different shades depending on how much pressure. So if you push down really hard, you get a dark mark. And if you let up on your pressure, you get a light mark. Okay, pens don't really work that way. So in order to get nice shading, you have to rely on some texture marks. Don't stress out about that. It's really fun. So we're going to go through 7 different texture marks to create value in pen and ink. So we're going to write using texture to build up value in pen and ink. And texture is one of our elements of art, and value is also one of our elements of art. So sometimes I like to point those out to students. All right, so we have 7 values. So I'm going to create 7 boxes. They're going to be squares, and they're going to be about 2 inches square. So I'm going to make a 2-inch line, leave a 1/2 inch, do another 2-inch line, leave another 1/2 inch, and do another 2-inch line. Then I'm going to do the same across the bottom. So do a 2-inch line, leave a 1/2 inch, do a 2-inch line, leave a 1/2 inch. And this one barely fits on the paper, and that's okay. Go back to the top, 2 inches, 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 1/2 inch, 2 inches. Okay, they do not have to be perfect. There we have 3, we need 7. So we'll just do 2 down here, 2 on each row. All right, I have my 7 boxes here, and the first one we have is called hatching. I'm just going to write hatching underneath the first box. Hatching is the most basic of the techniques that we're going to cover today. Hatching is simply just straight lines. No need to use a ruler. You can just draw some perfectly imperfect lines. It gives it character. And so we are using the lines to create value. So value means lightness and darkness. Maybe we should put that right here. Let's do that. Lightness and darkness. So when we want it to be dark, our lines can be very close together. And as we want it to grow and make it a little bit lighter, the lines can get farther and farther apart. And I can make these lines a lot closer down here. And I'm not using a ruler, and sometimes they overlap. And that's okay. That's hatching. The next one is cross hatching. So cross hatching is hatching in two directions. So I'm going to do our same horizontal lines here. We're going to make it dark. And the lines are closer together when it's the darker value. And they're going to get farther and farther away. The lighter value, need to add in some more in here. Okay. So that's hatching. Now to make cross hatching, we go the opposite direction. So this side, I'm going to make them really close together. I can start spacing them out here. So it's the repetitive layering kind of nature, and your eyes make the connection that as the lines get closer and closer together, that there is a darker value. So that's cross hatching. Contour line or contour is the next one. And these are parallel lines in your hatching technique, but they're curved and you take it with the shape of the object. So let me draw a circle in here. Okay. And I'm just going to use this cap to trace, but if you don't have a cap that fits in there, you can just draw a circle. And this really gives a 3D effect. It makes it stand out. And your lines do not have to be perfect. So we would follow the contour of this, curving the lines. And I'm going to get a lot closer down in here. And I'm not even going all the way across. But adding more down here. And these curved lines are really giving it that 3D effect. So that is contour. The next one is cross contour. And cross contour is similar to that of cross hatching. Again, you take the lines of the contour and cross over them with a second set of contour lines going the other direction. Again, make sure you're following the form. So I'm just going to do another circle in here. If I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause the video and draw and then play it again. So I'm going to do my contour lines following the shape. I actually might get straight here and then bow out more like that way, the top. And then maybe I'll make this side the darker side. You can see I'm not being real neat. I am trying to place the lines closer together and then farther apart. And again, your eye kind of connects all these lines together to give it some volume and form. The next one we're going to do is stippling. And stipplings are just little dots, and small little dots clustered together where the shading should be dark and further apart where the shading is lighter. And the thing about stippling is it takes time and patience. Some people love it, some people hate it. And it's just little dots. So actually I'm going to draw a half line here. I'm not going to fill in that because this is going to take forever. But I'm going to put some dots here. Notice that I'm not banging down my pen. I'm just gently placing it and touching it. And down at the bottom, the dots are going to be a lot closer together. And then as the dots, as the value gets lighter, the dots are less close together. So that is stippling. The next one is doodling. And it's kind of the exact opposite of hatching. So instead of shading with straight parallel lines, you're going to straight with random squiggly lines. It's meant to be done loosely, overlapping squiggly lines where the shading is darker and thin them out where this is lighter. This is really great for furry or fuzzy type lines. So I like to kind of almost pretend like I'm writing words, very loopy and circular. You can see I go over and over the same spot when I want it to be darker values. And then as I want it to be lighter values, I put less and less layers, and the marks are more full of air or white space, more white space. And it kind of does help if you blur your eyes, and then you can see where you need to add in some more doodling, scribbling. Some people call this scumbling. But it's a very random texture, but it's super fun to do. This is one of my favorites. You can see that I take a little bit of time still to get it just right. And the last one is your own mark. So I want you to pick your own mark to put in here. Some marks that I've seen other students do is pluses. So they just do like a whole bunch of pluses on top of each other, almost maybe like X's, right? And it just has this unique look. And as you get lighter and lighter, oops, kind of doing some, right? There's less pluses that are on top of each other. I've seen people do their initial, so like a letter or a number. Maybe I'll do K for Kate. So again, it's just like this doodling here. You go right on top, but it just makes a different mark. You could do circles. And after I'm done with this, my hand usually hurts. I've been gripping the pen a little bit. Okay, so that is what I'd like you to have done before our next class is some pen and ink textures to make value.